Hi everyone, we are live at VictoriaMetrics Q2 virtual meetup in July. I hope you are doing great.
Hi.
Hi everyone.
So we are here with a lot of speakers today, and we have also a guest speaker. We are packed with updates, and we're really excited to kick it off. But first of all, we'll take it easy. And meanwhile, we were discussing about the weather and we're doing some small talk. Don't be shy. Let's kickstart this and get some nice conversation going on.
Yes. First of all, we are really attracted to see this big fruit on your head. What is it?
It's an avocado. Because of the developer advocate, yeah. So now I have to commit to it. I have to take it with me like at big conferences. So obviously it's really warm here, but anyway, I'll wear it.
Hopefully we finish on time so that way the avocado doesn't rot before the end of the stream. I see that it's ripe, so probably about halfway through the traces talk, it'll start to turn brown.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the weather. Let me start. I'm in Krakow, and the weather is fine here. It is not so hot, and it is not so cold. It's normal, and sometimes there is a rain here. So I like such weather.
So I will continue from Poland. My name is Fred Nawruzov. I'm leading VictoriaMetrics and Anomaly Detection team, and I'm located in Poland, but in different cities than Alex in Wrocław. And here we also have, let's say, optimal weather. Not great, not terrible, not hot, not cold, which rarely happens, by the way, in the summer, which I'm really grateful for. So this day is a good day. What about you guys?
I'm talking from Ukraine, from Ternopil city. So it is pretty warm. There is no rain. It was raining last week, but for now it's okay. Should be fine.
I'm here in Madrid in Spain. Right now it's good because it's 33 Celsius degrees. That's a good number if you are a Fernando Alonso fan or supporter. Sorry for that, but I needed to say. And it's not raining a lot lately. Let's see what happens on Sunday in the World Cup finals, if it will rain with tears or with joy. I don't know. But yeah, interesting week.
So you should give some context for people that don't know what's football about. It's actually Spain. Yeah. It's playing Argentina, so it's like it's okay. I mean I'm fine. I don't do bets, but so far I did 2 bets on Wallapop and it works. I have like €4 discount if I ever want to buy something.
Sounds nice.
I feel bad not knowing who. I didn't know Spain was in the World Cup final until now, and I live in the host country.
Yeah, that happens. It's okay. Here is a very big thing, so you cannot even you go to the street and they're empty when the matches are happening and all of that. I think I will need to take Monday off because it's the match is Sunday night. So yeah. We're very happy to have Kirill with us. So thanks for coming. What's the weather where you are?
Yeah, thank you for having me. I'm in Hamburg actually, and it's 25 degrees and surprisingly sunny. Not the usual thing for North Germany.
Super cool.
Sounds awesome.
Sounds like an optimal.
Yeah, so I'm based normally. So I'm from Romania, but I'm based in Valencia, Spain. But like this couple of weeks, I've been to Bucharest, my hometown. So I'm currently in Bucharest, Romania, where the same. It's hot, but it's not as hot as in Valencia. But yeah, it's nice. So everybody loves football here as well. So probably I'll look at the final. Yeah, I'm not sure which one I should pick. Don't kill me, Jose. But yeah, I'll root for both.
Yeah, hi everyone. My name is Max. I'm from Kyiv, Ukraine. The weather is great. 25 Celsius, a bit of rain, enough sun. So in terms of weather, everything is great.
Yeah, I think I'm last. Diana, can you add my screen share to the presentation? I actually started collecting weather data inside of VictoriaMetrics specifically for this use case.
The other. Yep.
So RAM's been expensive lately, and so instead of buying more servers, I'm buying IoT sensors, and I live in Iowa in the US, and it is 30.7 degrees Celsius, and it is very sticky out. And winds are coming from the southeast. Maybe next time I'll get like the whole geo map working so we can see winds as well.
Yeah, Matthias, you should send us this temperature sensors to every team member of VictoriaMetrics, and we must collect, measure our temperature and send you to your VictoriaMetrics system.
And look for anomalies.
Yeah, and guys, we can host it in cloud if you want. We can have a centralized place for everybody.
Yeah.
I recently had a server die, so I would definitely recommend hosting it in cloud.
Yeah, that looks really awesome. And yeah, I really like your home lab, by the way. Everybody loves your home lab. Can you scroll down and see like what's happening there? Like, okay, wow, that's cool.
Yeah, the sensor gets rain totals and as well as the signal strength for the solar as well. So you do have to put batteries in the sensor, but it also grabs like how sunny it is too. The only thing I would like to change about it is I need to mount the weather station higher so that way I can get accurate wind ratings. But I don't feel like climbing on top of my roof for that.
Yeah, you should be careful about doing that.
Yeah, it's always trade-off about good data quality and the risks.
Yeah, so about the home labs, I've been tweaking, like I've been fiddling with some open source project in the last couple of weeks about carbon emissions, so about like green ops, and I integrated with VictoriaMetrics. But anyway, that's a story for a different time. And I also prepare some Grafana dashboards. So yeah, I'm really happy. Maybe we could add that to your home lab as well at some point, Matthias.
Yeah, I'd love to see that. And I think this is a part of our next tech talk, but I don't want to spoil anything in the marketing section.
We will share a bit of information about the tech talks today. So
yeah, we will do the right promo. Don't worry.
Awesome.
Cool. So I think we have like enough for the warm up. Obviously, we want to say first hi to Kirill because he'll be our guest for today. Obviously, if you want to say hi, because I think people know us, we didn't like introduce each other, but if you can probably just add a couple of introduction what you'll be sharing with us today, that'll be awesome.
Yeah, sure. So I'll be sharing our experience running VictoriaMetrics and also at the same time Mimir. So we have a pretty interesting configuration, which I will share some details and our findings later.
Excellent. Yeah, we are excited to hear all about it. And I think we can kick started, right, Dennis?
Yep. Okay. So yeah, we are glad to see all of. So we need to remove. Or I need to share the agenda. Okay. So today we are share some news and things about Q2. What changed in our products, what features we are bringing to our products. So we are happy to hear your questions and answer to them. And here is our agenda. Here's our agenda. So we can share a bit information from the community side. Then Matthias will talk about VictoriaTraces. Max will share VictoriaMetrics updates. Then Kirill will talk about his experience with VictoriaMetrics on his company. Then Fred will present his cool features from Anomaly Detection and the team. Jose will share a cool presentation, as always, with features and some good news about VictoriaMetrics Cloud. And then Alexander will give us news about VictoriaLogs, what is happening for the latest Q1 meetup. Maybe we will see something about S3 storage for VictoriaLogs, for example. Okay, so let me remove.
Yeah, we can remove. Yeah.
Fred, Max.
Perfect.
Okay, so a few words about community updates and news that happened this quarter. So we achieved pretty huge numbers across our GitHub repositories, our projects. We have big numbers, huge numbers for downloads from the GitHub, from our Docker and Quay Docker registries, which is really cool. So we see that folks are pretty interested in the Kubernetes ecosystem. We had more than 70 releases for this half of the year. We get more than 30 active third-party members and a lot of closed issues, resolved issues, merged pairs. That is pretty nice to see that pair is merged. And we are glad to share the information about that. Big companies like Airbnb used VictoriaMetrics software for their monitoring. So we posted a blog post about how Airbnb switched to use to VM agent. And the main thing that why they're just switched because it supports human integration for Prometheus metrics, supports sharding, providing a way to scale horizontally. They say that our documentation is pretty nice, which is really cool because we are proud to develop our documentation. It is a small code base, so our CTO, the main point of our company and the main point of Alexander is that we should have pretty understandable code base and the smallest binary executable file for each of our products. So for the latest Q2, we posted many cool blog posts about our products. A few of them are about using VictoriaMetrics observability stack. So that is how to use VictoriaMetrics, VictoriaLogs, and VictoriaTraces to monitor observability for LM and ML software. Please welcome to check our blog section in our main website and share your questions, feedback. We are glad to hear your voices. And Diana, welcome.
Yeah, thank you, Dennis. Yeah, we had so many things happening, and I'm really excited. We always grow, we always progress. As you see, like the head here with the developer advocate, we are quite busy. So the highlights of this quarter is that we participated at overall 16 events with talks. We also participated at mixed conferences, so not only open source or cloud native, but also coming from, let's say, programming languages, ex-Java conferences, and so on, with different topics as well. So topics on anomaly detection and AI assistance, MCP server. And obviously our, let's say, mainstream audience continues to be open source. So we participated for the first time with a workshop at Cloud Native Days Romania. We'll share that in a second. And other open source and cloud native events. Not the least, we sponsored a few of them. So Cloud Native Days Romania, Observability North America Summit, LinuxFX Northwest and LinuxFX Southeast, where we also had talks. So we were like really busy bees, right? So let's see what we did. Like I said, at Cloud Native Days Romania, we're like really happy to share our first experience with the workshop. Our product lead, Jose and Fred, they shared observability unlocked with OpenTelemetry and the VictoriaMetrics stack. So basically that helped users, and they show users how to build your observability stack starting from zero with VictoriaMetrics and also with OpenTelemetry. The second part covered anomaly detection, so how you can use anomaly detection with the stack that you just built. And obviously everything was practical. There were like 3 hours of taking this step by step. And you have here the GitHub repo, the QR, you can scan it. Also, we will share the slides later. And if you want to actually also experience the same workshop, you could go ahead and have all the exercises, all the code inside this GitHub repo. Like we said, it was a wonderful experience. We will repeat it again. For us, it was really marvelous to see so many people interested in a VictoriaMetrics workshop. So definitely we will do it again. Like I said, we start to explain, we start to have some talks as well at mixed conferences. That means that we shared our first anomaly detection talk, which is an enterprise solution at various conferences. So at JNation in Portugal, Berlin Buzzwords in Germany, and DevConf in Czech Republic. You can also scan the QR codes if you are interested in the videos of the talks, and you'll get a deep dive of what was like having this talk. Just a small peek here from marketing side, we are also preparing an article, a blog article about the shared experience on the anomaly detection talk, so be on the lookout for that as well. Like I said, Cloud Native continues to be our mainstream, open source continues to be our mainstream audience. We participated in Q2 at important events like Observability North America Summit in Minneapolis. And we participated in a panel talking about telemetry that matters. You can access the video of that talk. And also we wrote a CNCF blog article about the experience, so all the users can actually read about it and go beyond, let's say, the information we shared in our talk. Not the least, we also had the talk at Open Source North America Summit at the same location, this time talking about neurodiversity. And we also wrapped it up, we followed up with a CNCF blog article. And we are continuously supporting and engaging with the users on the cloud native ecosystem. So what's about the podcast? Because we are continuously sharing our experiences with telemetry. We have the Telemetry Talks podcast that I'm hosting. If you didn't hear about this, you can access actually with a QR code there on the right. You can access the whole episodes that are currently available. Telemetry Talks basically shares deep dives into observability, demos, and troubleshooting tips on instrumentation, debugging, and scaling with OpenTelemetry. So definitely please check out the videos, and if you have any questions, you can always give us your feedback. The other podcast that we share is the DevX Talks. That's basically a vendor-neutral podcast. We want to make it vendor-neutral because we want to welcome different voices from the community. So far we have been very successful in doing that with members from the CNCF community, with members from the accessibility community, from Drupal project, for example, also from members from the Latin America community. So we just recorded an episode fully in Spanish. So what we are trying here to basically give more visibility on more inclusive, effective, and sustainable developer experiences. Nonetheless, for both of these, we are actively looking for speakers and contributors. So if you do want to participate in this podcast, please reach out to us, and we are happy to discuss it and welcome you. A very successful podcast is Tech Talks podcast. So if you remember it, this was running for around 2 years, 1 year, if I'm not mistaken. And we made the pause in January, but right now, coming with July, we are reviving it. So I'm really, really excited because we're continuing this. So the Tech Talks actually is a podcast that is live streamed. So we'll continue to do that. We'll continue to live stream it, and we are welcoming your feedback, live feedback. Matthias will be the host, and this time he has a guest surprise, Michel Sebek, and they will be talking about something like a really, really cool project called Observability for your pets and their home. So I'm really excited about this. Don't forget to tune up on our YouTube channel, and we'll also do a promo about this. Also, if you want to see the previous episodes from the TED Talk podcast, you have the QR code and you can see the entire history. Yeah, I'm really excited about this one. Right. Not least, what we have been announcing in the last couple of weeks is the call for papers that is right now open for VictoriaMetrics and Vivo meetup in Spain. So like probably you know that or you don't know, but VictoriaMetrics has regular meetups in Europe and in different other countries around the globe. And this time VictoriaMetrics comes to Spain for the very first time. So what we want to do is we want to host for the very first time a meetup in Valencia. So we will start with Valencia this year. Hopefully in October we will do it. And we are welcoming all the abstracts that you have on your use cases with VictoriaMetrics. So it could be your use case either in dev, in home lab, or in production. It could be even in Spanish, in English. You can send it to us. You have the QR codes for the Spanish submissions and for the English submissions. So don't be shy. We all love to hear your stories. And in case you cannot make it to Valencia, don't worry. Next year, we will start with other important hubs in Spain, like Madrid, Barcelona, and we'll continue with other cities. So we are really excited for that because you can join us at the meetup.com monitoring observability VictoriaMetrics Valencia. For this side, you could always check the other meetup pages for other countries like Germany, France, UK, and so on, Poland, and yeah, we would love to have you and hear your stories. So what's a quick peek into Q3 conferences and talks from our side? We will be present at GopherCon UK, actually happening next month in August. That's a really big one, and we are really, really excited. We're going to have there our principal engineer, Jesus, and we're really excited for him to take the stage. And we'll continue in September and so on with other important events like Cloud Native Days Austria. If you're going to be around in Vienna, please be there and ping us. We would love to hear more about you. On October 15, actually, we'll do a live presentation, online presentation from the Nantes meetup that's in France. We're going to talk about VictoriaMetrics Cloud. In October, we'll have P99 conference with a talk from our co-founder, Roman. Then in October, we'll be present in Norway at Cloud Native Days Bergen with a talk about Kyverno and VictoriaMetrics. Then we'll be back in Spain at J on the Beach in Malaga. Then in November, we'll just be big there again at GoLab. And not the least at Open Source Monitoring Conference in Nuremberg, Germany, where Alex Valyalkin, our CTO, and also Jesus will be present with talks. So we have 2 talks present there. Anyway, so there's a lot coming in Q3. We exhausted actually the page, so we cannot add more conferences. But anyway, we'll keep you updated with what's coming up. And back to you, Dennis.
Yeah. So we are growth. So we are also hiring. We are hiring engineers for our engineering team. We are hiring, I think, 4 or 5 new people for marketing team. And also we are hiring sales. So please do scan this QR code or visit our website in the careers page and send your CV. We are welcome to everyone see in our team. We also have a newsletter in our website. Maybe you are already subscribed for it, but please do welcome subscribe to it, and we will keep your eyes on our news and updates. I think every 2 weeks we have new releases, so please join this newsletter. We are glad to see you there. And thank you for watching this presentation. Visit our main website on community section. We also have a community website where you will find the latest podcast with Diana. There are also announcement for our online meetups, tech talks, our offline conferences and meetups. So please welcome to our community website, and thank you for watching.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you so much, Denise. This has been great. So we are like busy bees, and right now, actually, we will deep dive into VictoriaTraces, right?
Yeah.
Excellent. So let's add Matthias, who is like really eager to share.
I drop myself.
Perfect. Yeah. Thank you, Dennis. Back to you, Matthias.
Yeah. So this is actually going to cover all of H1 for VictoriaTraces because we missed VictoriaTraces last time. But since the beginning of the year, we've had 10 new releases of VictoriaTraces. A lot of that has been focused on adding support for the Grafana Tempo API, so that way you could get a more expressive query language inside of Grafana when viewing traces, as well as getting compatibility with traces drill down. And we've also received a large number of pull requests from, I'm going to butcher the pronunciation on this, my apologies if you're watching, Voloshlakov SH. So thanks a ton for all the contributions. He was a big part in a lot of the TraceQL functionality, making it into VictoriaTraces. And we're always happy to see external contributions. So a summary of the new features: you can now use VictoriaTraces as a tempo data source in Grafana. So similarly to how you can use VictoriaMetrics with the Prometheus data source, you can now use VictoriaTraces as a tempo data source inside of Grafana. Why it's different than the Jaeger data source is that the query language for TraceQL is much more expressive, and you're able to write out full queries rather than have to do everything with the WYSIWYG editor like you do with Jaeger. You could also do duration filters. You could also do metrics queries from traces. So if you wanted to track like how many traces take more than a second over a given period of time, and those sorts of more analytics queries are supported better inside of TraceQL. Another big thing is traces drill down. So inside of Grafana, they have the drill down feature for metrics, logs, and traces. And instead of having to know how the query language works for that signal, it lets you start at a very high level overview and then drill down into an individual trace from that view. So rather than having to use Explorer and learn how to write the query yourself, you can just start and drill down, see something weird happen, and then start drilling into that individual service. So it's really good for root cause analysis, or starting your root cause analysis. And you could also pair that with using VictoriaLogs or LogsQL with traces. So traces began life as a experiment to see what would happen if we put OpenTelemetry traces inside of VictoriaLogs, and it started forking from there. So you could actually use LogsQL to interact with VictoriaTraces. So if you need an even richer query language than what's available in TraceQL today or Jaeger, you are able to add VictoriaTraces as a VictoriaLogs data source in Grafana and do things like view all the error spans, which is a bit tricky to do with TraceQL or the Jaeger query interface as well. And if you want to try anything I've talked about today, you can go to play-grafana.victoriametrics.com. And along with all the cool new things inside of traces, we have dashboards that show like a full APM scenario with the OpenTelemetry e-commerce demo, where metrics, logs, and traces are all happy together. You're able to hop back from a trace inside of VictoriaTraces to logs and metrics, and all of that is plumbed together for you. So if you want a good idea of what VictoriaTraces would look like inside of a full VictoriaMetrics stack, that's available on play-grafana.victoriametrics.com. Another enhancement is that we ported over the hidden fields feature from VictoriaLogs into VictoriaTraces. So the use case where this comes up the most is a lot of times VictoriaTraces is operated as a platform, and sometimes that platform is exposed to external customers. And there might be sensitive information in fields like where the infrastructure is hosted or certain internal information you don't want your customers to see. And you can now append a query parameter to requests either directly or through a reverse proxy like VMauth. So that way, all of the requests coming from a customer could have a field hidden from the results. Another feature that we landed as well. So we're still supporting the Jaeger API going forward, and you can now also add regular expressions inside of the Jaeger API. Apologies for the GIF not working here. It's an issue with StreamYard we plan on working out in the near future. Next big things for VictoriaTraces are we are going to start working on our own agent for storing and forwarding traces. This is based on a lot of research we've done recently with VL Agent and seeing that it is extremely performant. And also G-Kuhn's work on retroactive sampling. So these two things are starting to lead us into wanting to develop our own agent for storing and forwarding logs. So what it will start off as is a resource efficient span collector with enhanced sampling capabilities. So rather than having to buffer things entirely in memory, you will be able to store everything on disk, and it will also include an implementation of retroactive sampling. If you want more details for that, you'll have to go look into Roman and G-Kuhn's talk from KubeCon, I believe EU from this year.
Yep.
Very short definition of retroactive sampling is it's supposed to allow you to store all the traces somewhere in a buffer locally and then go through and pick the traces that are the most relevant for the entire span, rather than tail sampling, which can be a little bit of a blunt instrument, and it can also be computationally expensive. Another feature that is coming into the VictoriaTraces ecosystem is going to be per tenant rate limiting. So most use cases of VictoriaMetrics are it's operating as a platform for multiple users, and the Pareto distribution is very strong in most of the deployments we see, where we have one very heavy user of the system that can have negative impacts for everyone else. So adding rate limiting would prevent those heavy users of the system from causing problems for everyone else. It will include ingestion rate limits, as well as some tenant related metrics from the underlying storage. So similar to like per tenant statistics inside the enterprise version of VictoriaMetrics. And another feature that will land as soon after it's available in VictoriaLogs is multi-tenant query. So right now, going back to that platform use case where you might have platform admins or internal users that should have access to everything, and then customers or users that should only have access to their information. Multi-tenant query would allow those administrative users to see the entirety of the data inside of VictoriaTraces, and then those individual users will only be able to see the subset of data that they should. And the answer to the question that's probably already in chat is object storage when. And the short answer is I'm going to let Alex answer it in the logs section. But basically, as soon as it's available in logs, the Traces team is going to start working on implementing it in Traces. And as far as when GA is going to hit, we are looking sometime toward the end of the year. So we are looking at adding one more fix into the low-level structure. That's the main issue. As far as like functionality, things should remain fairly consistent between now and the GA release. It's just that one internal change that we want to have ironed out before the end of the year. And if you want to access VictoriaTraces, it's available to download anywhere. You can download the binaries from GitHub, Quay, Docker. And if you want to view the docs, those are on docs.victoriametrics.com/VictoriaTraces. And if you have questions about it, feel free to join Slack and join the VictoriaTraces channel.
Excellent. We do receive a lot of questions about VictoriaTraces, mainly when it's about to go GA. So, yeah, I'm really excited about this. And thank you, Matthias. Yeah, you can ask questions as they come along. Don't worry about that. You don't need to wait for ask me for anything at the end, and we will answer to you guys. Yeah, thank you so much, Matthias.
Happy to help.
Perfect. Cool. So now we'll go to the next updates. Let me add Max to the stage. And the VictoriaMetrics, I think this is the right one, right?
Yep.
Excellent.
Oh, hi everyone. I'm Max, the lead of the metrics team. And today I'll walk you through some of the recent work we've been doing, highlight a few new features, and explain how they can help in practice. I'll be happy to answer questions at the end of my presentation. So let's start. In Q2, we did seven new releases, and in this month, we are going to start a new LTS version. It will be 148, and end of support for 122 LTS version. For the LTS versions, we backported like 60 bugs that we fixed to make them more stable and work correctly. In terms of features, bugs, this quarter it is on par. We fixed 60 bugs and 66 features implemented, and answered 20 questions on GitHub. VMagent is a leader. Most of the changes were related to VMagent, and then evenly spread between VMSelect, VMouse, and VMAlert, and other tools. Most of the contributions to VMagent are related to stream aggregation. There are a lot of small fixes that address correctness in edge cases. So if you use stream aggregation in VMagent, consider upgrading to the latest version. Also, there were some work related to Prometheus compatibility and security. Some fixes in and fixes in enterprise features. Now I'd like to highlight a few nice features that we implemented. The first one is starting with 147 version VM single. You can build a cluster based on VM single instances. VM agent in this case can be used as a replacement for VM insert. It should handle sharding of data and optionally replication. And to read the data, you can run VM select that reads data from VM single. And in this setup, VM single works as a VM storage, and VM select talks to VM single using VM storage protocol. The main purpose for this feature is to simplify migration from VM single to cluster. Historically, the data structures on disk for cluster version and single version, they are different. So it's not possible to stop VM single and start VM storage using that same data. It won't work. And before this feature, to migrate this data, one has to use vmctl and read all the data from single and write it to the cluster version. And at scale, it could be unpractical. Like when you have terabytes of data, reading and writing them is not easy task to do. With this feature, you can start a new cluster with as many storage as you want and start ingesting data to that new cluster, and then add your VM single with historical data and read data from it. Once retention is over and you do not need this data, you can shut down VM single and use VM cluster version. So next feature is monitoring data exchange. So it is VM agent feature. The purpose of this feature is to simplify and automate the monitoring of monitoring case, in which you want to separate metrics from VictoriaMetrics services from any other metrics. And this is useful to make sure that even if your production storage goes down or have some problems, you still get the metrics and visibility into the state of the cluster. And you can fix it quickly. And what MDX does, there is a flag, remote write MDX enable. And if you set it to true to some remote write, then VM agent will automatically, without any additional options, filter out everything that isn't related to VictoriaMetrics and pass only VictoriaMetrics metrics there. This feature could be used by community users to build monitoring in-house, or enterprise customers, they can send data to our monitoring cloud offering. In this case, they set this one flag, set up the endpoint of our monitoring service, and that's it. And all the VictoriaMetrics will go through. Next feature, in Q2, we released a new product called VM Estimator. Its purpose to measure cardinality in real time based on configured labels. It could be by job or by metric name or team label, region label, tenant labels. It's up to you what dimensions to configure. The most basic or widespread use case is to measure cardinality by job, to know when some jobs cardinality spikes, and have an alert on that event. Why it is important to measure cardinality and churn rate? Cardinality is key performance indicator. So if you have high cardinality metrics, you have to allocate more resources on your storage. And sometimes the cardinality can spike rapidly and bring your storage down. So to prevent, and in this case, when the storage goes down, you lose visibility into all the metrics stored in that storage. So to prevent that, you can run VM estimator and send data via remote write to that service, new service, then scrap the cardinality estimation metrics and set up alerts based on those metrics. When alerts fires, you know that there is a job that introduced like maybe user ID as a label or some URL as a label, or maybe there are legit cases for high cardinality for that service, but you still want to stream aggregate them or do something with that. So that service is for that case. Another feature, small but good. So if you do stream aggregation at scale, you might your setup might look like this. You have some cluster of VM agents that scrap services in sharding mode, and then you have another second layer of VM agents that perform stream aggregation. And imagine that you want to do stream aggregation based on the service label. To perform that, you have to ensure that all the metrics from this service lands on the same VM agent that, for example, removes this label from, aggregates this label away. And this is how you can do it right now. With this new flag, prom scrap cluster shard by labels, you can simplify the setup. You can have one layer of VM agents that would do both scrap sharding and stream aggregation. And when you set this flag, you ensure that metrics from this service will go to the same VM agent, and then you can configure VM stream aggregation on that VM agent to do this kind of work. Simplification is a good thing. Next one, starting with 143 version, VictoriaMetrics can accept Prometheus native histograms on the ingest pass. So if you have a collector that can send data, native histograms in remote write format, then VM agent will accept them. And such histograms will be converted to VM range VictoriaMetrics histograms with VM range label. It's not possible to scrap native histograms at the moment, so only push them. Another nice feature, VM agent has got the new flag in memory queues. So how we imagine it works right now. So when your storage goes down, we imagine start queuing the incoming metrics to persistent queue on disk. And it has like remote write queues workers that reads the data from that queue and send them to the storage. And let's say the storage was down for a couple of hours and the queue become pretty big. When the storage is up again, we imagined we'll send data in first in, first out order. So the oldest data goes out first, and the real-time incoming data first stored to the persistent queue, and then eventually it will be drained. And this persistent queue drain in such scenarios can take a lot of time, hours in some cases. And during that time, you won't have the visibility into what happens with your system at the moment in real time. And that's the problem. Like most of the users prefer to see the recent metrics. They might have some alerts based on the real-time metrics. And to address this issue, you can start additional set of workers, 10 in this case, that would read the incoming data bypassing the persistent queue. Be warned that if you do this, you will get metrics out of order in your storage. There will be like the oldest metrics and then new metrics, and you can have gaps, and those gaps can be cached by VM selects. So make sure that when the queue is drained, you reset caches, and you know that you can get some weird results on recording rules or alerts during that time. But at least you will see something about your system. Next small but nice feature, starting with 144 version, raw queries page shows the null and not a number values. They are rendered at the bottom of the graph. And this is useful during debug sessions when you get like weird result or results that you can't explain. And going to raw queries page and seeing these things, they can hint you what actually happens. For example, not a number could mean that this is a stale marker and this series ended here, and this is why like you see two separate series with one set of labels. That's it for highlights. And for the next for the upcoming months, we have one thing we want to do for sure, and this is related to index size. Expect that it will become smaller in size because of two features that we will implement. The first one, we want to disable global index. I will talk more about why and the reasoning for that when we on the next virtual meetup. It should reduce the size almost twice of the globe index DB. And the second one is reduces the size of daily index and useful for cases when retention period is smaller than 1 month, for example, 10 days. Currently, with 10 days, VictoriaMetrics will accumulate 1 month of index data anyway. And with this feature, when we merge index blocks, we could drop the parts that outside that retention period. So both these features should help to reduce the size and improve performance. That's it from my side. If there are any questions, I would love to answer them.
There's been some chatter in the channel, but I think Roman and Stefan, they responded. But yeah, I think we will ask questions as they come along. So that's not a problem. So thank you so much, Max. I'm really, really excited, especially also about the VM estimator, but all the other all the other updates. They look really great, and like you said, we are really looking forward to the users' feedback. That's really important for us to keep improving. Excellent. So what we have right now, I think, it's our guest Kirill, who's been waiting patiently in the background. I'll just add you to the stage. Thank you so much, Max, yet again. And Kirill has something great to share with us. I'll add your presentation.
So first of all, again, thank you so much for inviting me. And the updates are excellent. Let's start. I'll be sharing today our experience running VictoriaMetrics and Mimir side by side at around 100 million active series. And that's me. So my name is Kirill. I'm a senior platform engineer at Trade Republic and work on mostly on observability things here. And what is Trade Republic? What actually is? So it's Europe's bank and the broker. We have more than 10 million customers across 18 European countries who trust in us more than 150 billion their assets and cash. And we were founded 2015 in Berlin. The last year we got a 20.5 billion valuation, which made us the most valuable German startups. And we are hiring, by the way. We have a lot of open jobs, also in platform in observability. So you can check it out. And with that being said, you can imagine that we have quite a lot of metrics to serve all of that customers. And let me actually give you some context. So why did we switch to VictoriaMetrics? How does our architecture look like? So previously, we had a pretty simple setup where we had lots of Kubernetes clusters, and each of them had quite big Prometheus instances, which was scraping the targets and pushing them to the central storage, which was Mimir. One detail that we had some debug metrics, which is like Hubble metrics, Cilium Envoy, for example, which has a lot of cardinality, things like source IP, destination IP labels, which we couldn't really afford to scrape with Prometheus and push to Mimir because they're immediately were causing performance issues. And then we came with this new architecture where we just switched Prometheus to VictoriaMetrics, which is like, I see it as a distributed Prometheus, which is better scaled by the components. So now we don't have the scalability issues, and we also deployed a separate cluster, which actually now can scrape this debug metrics, which sometimes useful when investigating some things. And we are storing them in a separate cluster completely, so they're not impacting the other components like Mimir and other our main clusters. And we combine that all together with the layered VM selects, and now we also have the separate entry point for the global view. and this is how our active series looks like. So this is our main targets, which with some occasional spikes. And this is just the same, but plus debug metrics. So you see the VictoriaMetrics actually has more metrics than Mimir. And these are the resource usage for them. So we see that Mimir is actually consuming a lot of more memory and CPU, which memory comes mostly from ingesters, as they're storing like 13 hours of metrics in the memory, and this is where our workloads are coming from. And also it's worth mentioning that they're not the same, like they're the same in the ingestion, but for most of the dashboards, our developers use still Mimir. So we are migrating some dashboards to VM data source, but we're just in progress. So that's why the CPU usage could be more for Mimir, because it's a bit more busy for handling the dashboard load. And this is I just divided the memory usage of both of them and the CPU usage. So you see it's like from IBM is more efficient, like from 4 to 5 times, and a bit more for the CPU, which is explainable by the dashboard load. They also receive kind of similar ingestions. I also compared the snappy and the standard traffic, and I do remember that in the VictoriaMetrics documentation, it's written that the standard is usually like 2 to 4 times efficient, which we also see in our use case. It's like 3.3 times on average saved traffic on a wire. And then I wanted to also to compare the query performance, the latency, and the throughput, and I couldn't do this for obvious reasons for our main cluster, so that's why I just took the dev cluster, which has around 10 million of active series for both Mimir and VictoriaMetrics. So, and run the performance testing with the locust with 6 different concurrent users, and each of them was a separate 3 minutes run. And here you see the specs. So I ran the VictoriaMetrics with version 1.145 and Mimir 3.1. Also, I wanted to highlight that all of them were having the same concurrency settings. So for VM Select, it's 2 times the CPU limit, and for Mimir, it's query max concurrent, which I also set to 16. And all of them were receiving the queries with disabled cache on the front end level. So that doesn't mean that VM storage isn't caching the metrics, and also Mimir is caching them in the chunks cache, index cache, etc. And for those who don't know the Mimir's architecture, it works like this. So it stores the recent data in ingesters in memory, and for historical data, it goes to the store gateway, which is essentially taking the data from S3 object storage. So that's why I tested different use cases. So first is just a recent metrics, which is sourced purely from ingesters, both instant and range queries, 2 hours old. Then I tested on 24 hours range queries, which ideally should get results 50-50, like half of them from ingesters, half of them from the store gateway path. And then I also issued the typical SLOs for the typical queries for SLOs, which touch the last 30 days of data. And these are how the queries look like. So I just tried the plain fetch without any functions. Then the shardable queries with some sum and rate. Also, you see the SLO queries, some non-shardable queries like fetching the quantiles, and some long reliable chain with some joins. And here the results for the instant queries for the recent data. So as you can see, the throughput for VM is slightly better than on Mimir, but it's on average like 1.5 times. So it's VM is able to serve more requests for all the concurrent for all the different concurrency settings. And very similar situation for the range queries. So it's like from 1.2 to 1.5 times VM is faster on the recent data. And then here, what happens when you try to touch the store gateways, actually. So here the difference is much bigger. So what we have observed, the VM was able to serve hundreds of requests during those tests, and first, like until the 16 concurrent users, it was also without the errors, and then we started to see the errors. And on Mimir, it was always with errors, and also it was able to serve much less queries than VM for that. And this is the result for the 30 days SLO queries. So we also see that actually this time, so as it's the instant queries, I think it's easier for both of them. So no errors on both sides, but VM is also much better in the throughput answering those questions. Queries. And here are the resource and memory and CPU usage for all the tests. On the left side, I think it's interesting to see that so the first two spikes are from the recent data, so the instant queries and the range queries. So Mimir is using like too much times CPU than VM. And when it comes to serving the historical queries, actually VM started to consume more CPU resources. And I connected with so that will be explained on the next slides, but that's the latency on the S3 itself. So here we actually can see that the Mimir was not really misconfigured. So we used the chunks caches, which at the start of the test, we see the drop in the hit ratio, but then it was able to catch up and load the chunks into memory, and then almost 100% of all the queries were actually hit. And then at the top, you also see all the queries that actually get and hit, not delete. So it was not the store gateway itself also didn't have any out of memory issues, didn't experience CPU throttling, etc., as well as the caches. And this is also, you see here the different latencies and operations to S3. So we actually see here that during those tests, Mimir was actually going to S3. So not all the requests were served from the chunks caches, from the mem cache actually. And most of the time, the store gateway spent its time serving the requests were fetching series and chunks, as well as sending the results back to the queries. Also, S3 latency, the S3 P99 latency was not more than 3 seconds in general. But in general, you see that I think this proves that SSD disks actually could be faster than fetching the metrics from S3. Also, I just included here the network traffic during the load test. You see that VM was using a bit less, especially on the store gateway queries. So even though served more queries in total. And here are some takeaways from us. So based on our experience, we do see that VictoriaMetrics actually wins on the read latency on the queries. As I said, it's 1.5 times faster on recent data and up to 15 to 30 on historical data. It uses less CPU and memory for the ingestion of the same time series. Also, it's much easier to operate VictoriaMetrics cluster rather than Mimir. In VictoriaMetrics, we have 5 components, and mostly default settings works just fine. On the Mimir side, I counted 14 different components, and you see you have a lot of settings which you need to tweak so that the performance is actually good for the clusters. And VictoriaMetrics allows us to build the flexible topologies, which I showed before. So we have the debug metrics in the isolated space where it doesn't influence the performance of the other important metrics. And for Mimir, so we noticed that it's also kind of good at the easy and unlimited retention. So we can just push the metric to a tree, have unlimited retention. So as we are a bank, so we need to store some metrics for several years. And with Mimir, it's easier. So we don't need to scale indefinitely the local disks, and we restore the data in a tree. For the heavy queries, it's also, in theory, should be better. I didn't test it, but when you have lots of queries, you can set up the sharding so that the map reduce actually produce the result better than one VM select, because if I'm not mistaken, the VM select cannot parallelize the queries. So in order to scale the read path, we need to scale vertically. And the last reasons why we are also still running Mimir is the native histograms at full resolution. We tested sending the native histograms to VM agent to convert them to VM rage, and then later store in the VM cluster. But we noticed that it loses the precision, and which is actually noticeable on the dashboards. And you also need to rewrite the queries from native histograms to VictoriaMetrics functions, which is also a bit of work. And that's it. Again, if you have any questions, you can ask.
Yeah, thank you so much, Kirill. Just a follow-up question. Did you publish a blog article about your findings, or will there be anything like that published in the future?
Not yet. Haven't published anything. Just finished with the load testing, I think, this weekend. So, but I'm actually considering writing the results somewhere.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's great, and obviously being an end user case, people are interested to find out exactly the real life scenario. So yeah, I think it will be great for everybody just to go through it and understand like what was the reasons and your experience as well. I think that's very valuable. Thank you so much for your time here. Not sure if somebody from our side has any questions for Kirill. If you think about any question, you can always ask, and then we can revert to Kirill. But yeah, thank you so much for your time. And yeah, we do hope to have you as guest probably in the future.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Great. So right now I will invite to the stage Fred, if I'm not mistaken, who is gonna share some exciting updates on anomaly detection.
Hi, Diana, again, and thanks for having me here, and thanks for all our listeners and participants. So for those who don't know me, my name is Fred Novruzov. I'm leading VictoriaMetrics Anomaly Detection team, which stands behind VM Anomaly product. And today I'm going to share some of the, let's say, exciting news about our Q2 progress. And also we'll see where we ended in Q1, what we did in Q2, and what we will likely do in the end of the year. So let me start. I'll try to keep it quick so we spare a little time for live demo, which is more self-explanatory than boring slides, which I regularly do. So I hope it won't take too much time. So first of all, we'll see recap. Then we'll see some highlights, very generic, of what we did in Q2. Then we'll address some of the work in progress. And small spoiler, we wanted to publish next big release before the community meetup, but we're still inside testing process, so we need to spend more time before it's released. So I will share it from my live demo, from my live build, as well as share some future plans. So for this year, we already have a couple of good things done. So we did 7 releases. We also start upgrading our UI for VictoriaMetrics and Anomaly Detection. So we already improved visuals and identification and did some bug fixes, which is good. We started shipping AI assistants inside UI, so it's more convenient for our users to interact with UI state itself, ask questions about documentation, test the models, ask agents to do some config validation, config suggestion. Yet it was very first experiments, as well as we did a parity and release cert public playground on anomaly detection on traces. And by the way, let me take a step back. For those who don't know what is WEM Anomaly, WEM Anomaly is our product for doing anomaly detection in metrics data. Yet this data can be converted to metrics from our 3 data sources, which are VictoriaMetrics, VictoriaTraces, and VictoriaLogs. So once it's in metric shape, you can run WEM Anomaly on top of it. And for that, for our users and potential leads to play with it, we released the third missing public playground for WEM Anomaly and traces, similar to metrics and logs, as well as we had a couple of new business arguments to reduce false positives, which is a real problem for anomaly detection-based solutions, as well as added some other improvements and a lot of bug fixes as usual and resource optimization. But in Q2, we continued the track, yet we focused more on convenience, unification, and stability. So not that much features, but all of the features are great and useful. So we did 5 releases, and this major 1.30 is coming and should be available likely in 1 week or so. We also did a lot of UI updates and also migrated currently work in progress to new design, which I share in a minute, as well as we increased our inference speed for UI-based and backtesting experiments with the models. So our current users already faced significant speedups, as well as we, for production runs, we improved throughput of our models and for our schedulers. So now we more evenly scatter our jobs inside inference period, and it leads to more even resource utilization and more unified setups with less pressure on resources. As usual, we did a lot of bug fixes and customer requests. So we also do in feature requests, and we are very precise when it comes to user feedback, as all Victoria stack in general, as well as we are improving our MCP server for WEM Anomaly, like adding new endpoints, which I'll share in a minute, as well as we are working on first skill release for WEM Anomaly, which will be a part of our public skills repo for Victoria stack. And we also finishing latest experiments with a new temporal envelope model, which is a new drop-in replacement for Prophet and other more heavy models, and it's a compact, continuously adapting models for complex data. Yet you can use it on simple data as well with minimal overhead. So it supports multiple calendar patterns, including holidays and special dates. It has persistent change handling in case your data face some change points or abrupt changes over time. And also it supports optional forecasts for feature parity with Prophet. So it's a goal towards one production-oriented model instead of our users to choose from a bunch of models. And when more about this model, benefits for the users would be that one model you can use across mixed time series. So it can work with strongly seasonal, weekly seasonal, trend-driven, non-seasonal time series with the same hyperparameter subset and with different queries that gets your data to WEM anomaly, as well as its online model, as we generally do for WEM anomaly. So it adjusts on a stream of data without the need of constant refitting when we compare it, for example, with Prophet or other offline models, which need to be completely refit from time to time, and before refits, they are static in nature and they can't really adjust to the data. As well as it's robust enough, as well as I mentioned, it captures different characteristics of the data, whether your data have it. And it's good for both detection and planning because it's also doing anomaly detection and forecasts if you want them. As well as we try to keep user API as tiny as possible, so it's reduced complexity. You just tune a set of configuration knobs, but reasonable default is already there. And it's also resource efficient versus other models and versus comparative models. And when it comes to efficiency, our recent benchmarks already show that versus univariate models such as Prophet, and the more you have the data to fit into the model, the more you have the benefits. So it's already up to 10 times smaller, and the same, it's X time faster than the model. And the difference becomes more obviously once you increase the size, just because of some of the models design, like Prophet, that it's linear to the data it sees, which is not the problem for new model, which stays compact and stable over time. As well as for multivariate use case, and multivariate use cases when you want to combine several signals all at once as an input and still be able to produce a single anomaly score line as an output. So here we compare it with our previous baseline, which is isolation forest. And when it comes to size, it's already drastically smaller when it has compare similar timings for inference and will be likely reduced even more. So for both of the use cases, it will be, and it should be drop-in replacement with way more efficiency when it comes to time and space. Also, and this is the most happy feature for me, and which I'll share in a minute, we improved and offloaded our UI design. So it has better UX, it has less overcrowded surface, yet it has all the knobs that were present, plus a new little ones that makes life of our users easier. As well as we keep on improving our AI direction, and we try to let data speak for itself in any stages. And starting from this new release, which I mentioned, both our AI Copilot in UI, MCP server, and forthcoming skills will benefit from such API endpoints as time series characteristics. So given your data and given your query, it will sample some of the series of this data to identify trends, seasonality, change points, and other characteristics to be able to later suggest what model class would be good and not redundant given your data profiles. As well as you can run this specific model, which LM suggests, through auto-tune routine to fit the best way on your historical data, given your instruction, if any. So later on, you have reduced manual tuning and configuration complexity. Instead, you just ask, please suggest what is a good model for my data without even describing your data, which we'll see in a minute. As well as you have full control over these endpoints through our agents. So if you want to manage long-running optimization reliably, you can go with it asynchronously and cancel, update, create new. So it's also optimized towards agentic workflows. And in general, it's more about this flow, which is shared for all the components, which is inspect, then tune, then validate what's tuned, then recommend to end user. So it can be copy-paste into production after it's confirmed to be working. But it should be way less manual tuning and drastically improved timings. As well as skills. We basically release 3 new skills based on MCP endpoints and based on exposed endpoints of WEM anomaly itself. So first is for WEM anomaly query, which is for inspect and operate interface to service itself, like health, model schemas, queries, validation, profiling, what goes good, what goes bad, auto-tune, whatever. As well as WEM anomaly config, which is end-to-end for build and verify. So it profiles with known signals decides what goes best, like static alerts versus ML, so it stays honest, versus you even need anomaly detection, or static alert would be fit better, as well as select and tune the model. And then the goal is to produce deployment-ready configuration and alert rules out of the box. As well as WEM anomaly review, it's more about already running WEM anomaly installations, so you can still audit it, improve the configs once the data changes, or once initial models were not that great. And once it's done, you can hot reload the changes and see how good it became after the redeploy. So combined experience would be from your initial intent to real data analysis and validated configuration and continuous quality review process. So to sum up, our wrap-up on progress is that we are releasing skills for WEM anomaly. It should be all available in July, as well as this new online model, which I'll demo in a minute, as well as new design for WEM anomaly UI and better UX, as well as MCP server updates. So it will all be shipped alongside with next major release. As for plans for the rest of the years, we still have a lot of them. First is obviously further updates to MCP and skills agent for easier onboarding of the audience to our ecosystem and using the product, as well as for cross-product interaction. So you can combine MCPs, you can combine skills, and you can track and assess more end-to-end observability workflows without digging too much into details of specific products or specific endpoints. As well as we will build additional layer top of skills of first iteration, which are dynamic presets. So you can craft it on metric subset and metadata discovery, and craft a preset for yourself, which is dynamic to your data and to your request, like Kubernetes metrics preset, VictoriaMetrics preset, Node Expert preset. It will be our second iteration of skills. As well as we continue working on root cause analysis product to assisted causal incident drill downs. So we hope it to be released in Q4. As well as we add contextual capacity calculator in case someone, your agent, wants to know how much resources would specific deployment need to get your anomaly needs covered. As well as we still hope to integrate with VictoriaMetrics Cloud for WEM anomaly to be available inside. And fingers crossed to cooperate with Jose on that. And basically, that's it. And if we still have time left, we can go to some live demos.
Yeah, that's an excellent update, Fred, and I think we are really excited, and you are like busy bees all the time. Yeah, I think we have time. I don't see any particular question yet for your section, but I think we'll be excited to see some demo.
Yes, I hope it works. Nothing is broken. It's usually done in live demos. So please tell me, can you see my screen?
1 second, I will add it here. Yeah, no? Yeah.
Oh, that's great. So for those who are familiar with our previous design, you can see that the UI is already compacted and has less visual clutter. So you have basically not only components, but also lively updated track of what you should do to see the results. So first of all, you can start with querying. And by the way, all these sections can be compressed, so you spare some precious vertical space. So for example, you start with the query which you want to address, and you can see that in our guidance, you already hit the first bullet point. So if you remove the step, you already see that you should do it. Otherwise, once you hit execute query, you'll see empty results and some errors. So once you hit a query, which is currently going to metrics SQL endpoint, to VictoriaMetrics playground, to be precise. So you can explore your data similar to how you would explore it in the MUI of VictoriaMetrics. Then, and let me restart the page, you should go to model configuration. So you can still choose the model class, and then you choose the parameters. And currently, it's more visually pleasant, at least to me, than it was before. So you have two different sections. One is for model agnostic parameters, which incorporate your domain knowledge. So you can set up data range for your CPU utilization data. You can set up some guardrails that you want to enforce, like don't inform me if something is less than 50% over expected, as well as you can change detection direction. So for example, you are only interested in spikes for CPU spikes, as well as you can play with model parameters like quantiles or something else. And then you validate and hit apply. And then you see that it's also done. So you just need to click detect anomalies to see how it's going on. And it already shows you some queries and some results of anomaly detection when you can see real data, predictions of the model, projected ranges, as well as some anomalies which were caught on that specific time range. Also, if your query returns more than one time series, you can see detection summary, like how much of these were anomalous, how much were not, how much anomaly streaks or detections were made, as well as how much in percentage it goes for your overall data points. As well as you can explore different time series. So here I intentionally didn't change any default parameters, so it's as simple as it could be. So you can still see individual timelines in individual time series. You can still sort it by some statistical fields or labels. You can filter it if you want, if your query returns a lot of them. And after that, you can also change some advanced settings, which are hidden and not always needed. So you can change on what time frame to fit your models, to infer, whether you should do exact infer or not, to spare some time and resources, as well as whether you want to plot some business boundaries that you crafted. So it also has more convenient way of interacting with it. As well as after you do your experiments, you can see, sorry, oh yeah, I also forgot to mention some of the neat yet important features. Here I demo you VM Anomaly UI. It can be run in purely preset equals UI, which stands for VM Anomaly does nothing except for serving UI and UI requests, like ad hoc queries and ad hoc anomaly detection. But you can combine it with production VM Anomaly and still be able to use VM UI for experiments. But in case you do, then for your queries, for your running VM Anomaly installation, you can access your server queries without the need of retyping them from scratch. So you can copy it, you can execute it, see their names, their expressions, in case you want to test something on your production data without the need of manual typing.
So just a question here, will it keep like a history of the queries? And if so...
Yes, exactly. So here you will have your session queries, you'll have your saved queries, you'll have your favorite if you mark this star, as well as you'll see your server queries if you run VM Anomaly in production.
Is there any limit to that history or not really? I mean, let's see.
Only common sense, but always you can do let's say clear saved history, and it's all done.
Yeah.
As well as you can do the same for model. In case you have your VM Anomaly running in production, you can also change this default to your scheduled model from your config, and it will update your model configuration based on what parameters are there. So currently it's updated for this core model, and the parameters and UI updated accordingly. So you can hit apply and see how your production model would behave. Spoiler, it won't be too good just because it's some tiny demo model for the sake of the demo. As well as once you play it with the models and it's good enough for you, you can see current UI state expressed in parameters. You can see generated YAML, so what the models and what are they expressed in the sense of YAML, as well as not only model section, but the whole section that you can copy paste, including schedulers, readers, writers, with some small change, for example, to your endpoint URL, and it can be working in your production, as well as some example alert generated based on your UI state, which we suggest. So you can either copy, download it, and use into your production once it's good enough on your backtesting experiment. So this is manual stack. Once once we have AI assistant, and for that I need to change to another tab, I guess, and reshare my screen.
Sure.
Give me a second. Screen. It should be somewhere here, probably. Yeah. So first of all,
So 1 second, let me just grab your screen. Yep, perfect.
Yeah. So here I also forgot that I wanted to demo a new model on the same query, which at the same time express different time series with different data patterns. So it's the same query that we ran, which expose CPU utilization by mode and by service. And here I demo just the full parameters of temporal envelope, which is new model, to see that most of the time is spent on getting the data itself, not on fitting on inference. And yet this model is helpful when it comes to different seasonalities, when it comes to evolving patterns over time, as well as some change points, as well as changing seasonality profiles. So here it's more squeezed here and more stretched here. So it adjusts over time without the need of manually refit over big batches, as well as it can be simple for simpler data with the same exact configuration, as well as it can be used for different and abrupt changes, as well as it can be as simple as it should for more line-like metrics, as well as it can be specifically 0 for 0, or where it was, here it is. So the line is 0, predictions are 0, and the tendency is 0. So it acts as a superset for majority of time series patterns, being at the same time the same model configuration and the same model class, which should be an easy way to substitute current configs based on profit when it's univariate, or isolation forest, whether it's multivariate. And also let me reshare the third tab. Hope it works as well, where I actually demo skills and new workflow. And it will be the last part for me, 1 minute.
Sure.
Give me a second. Share screen. Chrome tab. Hope it's this one. Yeah. So once you introduce, I don't know whether it's shown on the screen.
Yeah, it's coming up.
Great. So once you set up Vim Anomaly with AI Copilot, backed by MCP server and backed by some backbone LLM, you are able to use AI assistant, not only for asking questions about UI itself or Vim Anomaly documentation, but also on doing some quick and dirty explorations before it goes prod with minimal efforts and time. For example, we already pre-made it, so we don't spend too much time on LLM going back and forth. So I started with some query suggestion for a respective model configuration to track CPU spikes by service and node, probably excluding idle mode, and want to capture spikes that are persistent for at least 2 data points in a row and at least 15% versus normal pattern. So it started with suggesting me something, like I can suggest you that query. And if it's okay, I will proceed further. So I asked, yes, proceed further. And it already applied suggestion based on Vim Anomaly time series characteristics. So it visited the data and the query and the data it returns to sample some profiles, as well as it suggested me a query. So once I hit approve, it overrides UI state with this query without the need to manually retype it, as well as then it searched some time series characteristics, get model schema to validate proposed model, as well as to validate proposed model config. And once it's all done, it suggested me to do, based on what I requested, to change model parameters to specific model and specific class, which you can also always review when approve or decline, or batch decline, or batch approve, as well as change UI state to account for consecutive anomalies on the graph and to account for some of the other parameters. And once you hit it all, then you can see that the model is changed to a temporal envelope with specific parameters. And then once you hit detect anomaly, this is the only manual stuff that should be done on the user side. So I hope it still works. Yes, it works. So basically, that was all that I wanted to share as for the updates. So these are mostly wrapped around user experience, simplicity, and convenience.
Perfect. Yeah, I was just taking a look and see if we have any particular questions, but not at the moment. Anyway, as they come along, we'll ping you. Yeah, it looks great. I'm really excited, especially since I already tested the first part with the anomaly detection with the previous UI, and it looks really great. So I'm excited about what's coming up for anomaly detection. And thank you so much, Fred, for joining us and explaining these updates. I think right now, thank you.
And thanks for all the listeners.
Exactly. So right now we'll have Jose, who is going to present to us the VictoriaMetrics clouds, and we'll say goodbye to Fred. Okay, let me just put the presentation here, and welcome, Jose.
Yeah, thanks for having me, and thanks everybody for being with us. It's great. It's been great to see the advances in all the products and having Kirill with us sharing everything. Actually, I did have one question about VM Anomaly, which was about making a joke about clusters, but it looks like it works in high availability mode, as Matthias just told me. So I cannot even make that joke. So yeah, it's very, very cool what you guys are building. Okay, so yeah, let's go to cloud. I am, for those who don't know me, my name is Jose. I work as product lead in VictoriaMetrics Cloud, and I am here to show all the cool things that our team has been working on this quarter. Actually, that's not entirely true, because I am hiding the coolest part of it, because we want it to be ready. But yeah, stay tuned, and as the new generations say, if you have a hint, leave it in the comments on what we are building in the back. Okay, so about cloud, if you didn't know, VictoriaMetrics has a cloud offering, so just go to VictoriaMetrics Cloud, .cloud, and try it by yourself. It's $200 in credits for free for you just to try. And even we do also POCs for 1 week for whichever scale you need for free, so you can just try it out. And we have also the docs, which we want to pay a lot of attention, and we do, so you can also go there and take a look. So what happened this quarter? We did something very cool with credits that I'm going to introduce in a second. Also, the team was very focused on fixing or improving many quality of life things on our UI in terms of user experience and usability. And of course, yeah, any improvements here and there. So let's go into that. And these will be released in the following days, actually. So what I am showing you are some screenshots I took yesterday, I believe, from our staging. So it's there. We're just stabilizing a couple of things before release, but it's going to be there very, very soon. So, okay. Let's talk a bit about billing. I want to introduce a couple of concepts in case some users didn't know. So today, how VictoriaMetrics Cloud works in terms of payments and billing, you can pay via anything you want, really, but mostly Stripe and AWS. And you can monitor your costs every day. We break them down in categories and all of that, and you can export them via comma-separated value files, or so you can then do whatever you like with them. But what happens as well is for yearly contracts, we normally give credits and then they are consumed with time. Or maybe when you are in this trial period I was mentioning, you can be like, you have this $200 there. And also while we do this proof of concepts, or God forbid, if there is some SLA breach and compensation, then you get some credits, right? And until now, the problem was that we were not really showing this credit consumption. Of course, you could ask us and we could tell you, but it was not a great experience, right? In our opinion, and we wanted to improve that. So what users will find super soon is to see, first of all, at a glance, the balance, so you can control your expenses and see how much do I have left without needing to open a support ticket, and understand your consumption, right? And even also expiration. Also, we made sure that everything is explained through the UI, like how are your charges being applied, like, hey, first we will consume the credits, and then your preferred payment method will be called, and things like this. So the UI is filled with those as well to help. And we have this new view as well, right? Now inside billing, it's not only about the payment methods and the invoices. Now you can check this new credits view. You will be able to see that. And here we show like the total balance and how much are you using per day, or in the last 30 days, we do an average for you, so you can maybe understand if you need to request for more or what's going on, and also when they will be depleted, right? And here you will have like an audit log way of things, kind of thing in which you can also export it and use it for your own benefit. So actually, we believe we're very excited about this because mostly our yearly contract customers will be happy to see this, right? So this is the big thing for this quarter, but I really love this one. So when you want to see your metrics, there's something that can be bothering you, right? So we now have the ability to collapse the sidebar. And I believe this is a great improvement. I like how little by little our team is having these small improvements that I don't believe they are small, but there are tweaks that make this more modern look and feel to the platform. And I'm really proud of all this work that the team is doing. So it's not only about that. Also, another thing we've been waiting for a long time is we have our first mobile or small screen mode implementation. And in this case, is the first one, right? So feel free to give us any feedback. But sometimes when you're managing a managed platform, when you're using it, sometimes you may get an alert or a notification in your phone, and you want to check, okay, is everything okay? Do I need to go back home? Do I need to check? And we build this service actually for this purpose. So we are also tracking how people are using the platform, and we are seeing many devices or mobile devices. So it was about time for us to give this functionality. So please feel free to give us some feedback. But I think right now it's pretty solid, and I actually love having this. Actually, it helps me. Right now, I can check some stuff on my own without needing to move to a computer or screen-based platform. Other improvements that you may not think they are super big, but they are very important. For example, the colors now, because we are embedding VictoriaLogs and VictoriaMetrics UIs, which are great, and we love them. And actually, they give us a lot of value. But we need to make this effort of integrating so the platform looks more consistent, right? So now the colors are actually the same, and also we brought from the open source a couple of cool features. One is the raw metrics, raw queries tab in the VM UI, and the VL UI. I really loved when the team added a few months ago the filters tab on the left. So now we have it embedded as well in cloud, right? So we keep track of all these improvements and we include them in the product. Right, and actually, this sidebar, I believe it provides a lot of value because it helps. The filtering is much more useful. And another nice thing for as an improvement on the platform is now in the drop downs, when you select between different deployments, you are able to see at a glance which kind of deployments you're looking at, because we didn't think that this was a problem, but then you realize that people give the same name to the deployments, and then it's hard for them to understand like which one do I want to open. So now in this way, you now know which is which kind is each one. So, and the latest improvement, actually, we got, we catched this one on while we were doing the meetup, or the workshop in Bucharest, in CND, Romania, that we couldn't, the tenant was not maintained when you change between query and overview in VictoriaLogs UI. So actually it was Alex Valialkin who saw it, and then we opened the ticket, and now it's done. So again, thanks for the great collaboration we have between all teams. Now we have this here. Yeah. And yeah, so that's like all the improvements we've been doing. Also, I wanted to mention that because some of our big enterprises or potential customers are asking for it, so we already finished and we spent some time on undergoing all the preparations for SOC 2 compliance. Right now we are under evaluation, which is great. So hopefully soon we will be able to provide great news. Let's wait for that. And we also made some improvements in how we operate our clusters. We have a distributed architecture. So, for example, just imagine if with two different zones, right? So just imagine one zone or one VM storage becomes unavailable. If previously we had a partial reads, and this meant that you could have maybe a false positive alert, and now we are avoiding them. So that means that now all your data is more consistent, or the reads of your data are more consistent, even during upgrades, or even when if there is a zone down or anything. So it's more consistency or more robustness to the operations. We also added access token creation to Terraform. We improved, and based on feedback, and thanks really for those who see some issues and report them. They help us to improve. And actually something cool is coming very soon. But in the deployment logs, we were hiding some logs because we thought they were not important maybe for our customers. We wanted to give a very curated list. Now we are just making them available, and actually our users were asking for that. So, and very, very soon we are going to improve the how we show these logs to users. So stay tuned for that. And of course, we spend a lot of time improving our docs and FAQs as every quarter. So this was this quarter. As I said, there are some things I need to keep for now for myself, but I will sneak peek on a couple of things we've been working hard. And I've mentioned this before. We are moving from model in which we provide instances with some limits. Like you cannot, if you want to use this number of active series, then you need this tier and so forth. But the feedback we are getting from customers is like, hey, I don't need babysitting. Just give me how much CPU and RAM I am using, and then if I need to add more, I will ask for more or upgrade via the UI. So we are changing to this model right now, and that takes time because it's a change in the whole model of how we deploy. But because we are doing this now, what I am very excited about is that we can start showing some more data. And now that overview page will look like something like this. We are still working on that. And it means that now we are able to show all the information we will be able to show all the information from our instances. Like, hey, you are using this this number of active time series. Like that's just informational now. People will not have these limits. The ingestion rate, the read rate, and the churn rate, which are normally the most important points. So this is just the overview page. Then later you can go in and then just monitor your instance, right? But this will help to have like a single pane of glass in which you can understand what's going on. We are also going to show for the first time all the components. You will be able to check how all your components are functioning. So just in case, just imagine if your RAM of one of the components is running low, we can scale that on your request and apply that. And also, latest changes and health alerts. So it's going to be like a very cool way to see with an overview the status of your instances. And that's one of the big things. The other things we are working on is we believe this will provide more options to users. So, like, we are preparing a big set of clusters, meaning that when users want to scale up or down between clusters, it will be available. Now it won't be that you will need to request through support. You can always do it, but now users will be able to do it by themselves better. And this is very important because it will help for us to roll out super quickly cluster version for logs and traces, which we want to also provide very soon. Because if we are making available just CPU and RAM and all the components, we don't need to spend time doing benchmarks that in reality every user has their own use, so it's not that easy to make recommendations. We will always help with proof of concepts, like, hey, cloud team, I need all this volume. Can you help me to pick one cluster? We will do it. We will actually do it together. So users are always encouraged to ask for these proof of concepts. And we are also going to improve our alerting and provide more flexibility to authenticate via generic OAuth. Okay, so the team has been doing many things, and yeah, sorry, that's a great question. I just read in the chat. Yeah, I said CU, but just ran over it. Thanks for pointing that out. And with that, I mean compute units. So we are going to show the clusters are going to be based on CPU and memory instead of the limits of active time series or ingestion rate, right? So it's like, hey, you have a cluster that is this big. If you want to make it bigger, you can do it in this way, pick the next tier. So it's going to be more transparent. Otherwise, it was like, for example, hey, I am hitting this limit of active time series. And but I am not hitting the limit of ingestion rate. Why should I upgrade the tier, right? And then we needed to explain to the customers, yeah, but the CPU you are using the CPU is throttling, so now you need to change. So actually, we are removing this barrier, which was maybe a bit artificial. We will also make a big effort to provide recommendations in the UI. We're working on that. So based on the usage that other users are providing, we will give recommendations. Like, hey, this cluster is used by other customers with this load. So hopefully it will help. But of course, we will, when we launch it, we will be open for feedback. And I think we are very, very excited about this, actually. Yeah. So this is what we are building. So as you can see, it's like a lot of changes at the same time. That's why it's taking a bit more time. But I'm very confident. Like the team is doing a great work. So if you liked what you heard, come to VictoriaMetrics.cloud and try it out. And yeah, we'll be happy to help.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Jose. Yeah, a lot of things packed in, and I'm really excited, especially about the UX and the other stuff. And yeah, we have one last product update that's waiting for us. I hope you are excited as well. Let me just quickly pull this out. And thank you so much, Alex, for being patient, and thank you, Jose, for the great talk.
Yeah, thank you. And I'll try to be fast with my talk about what's new in VictoriaLogs. In the second quarter of this year. Let's start with the new log scale functionality. There are actually two new pipes. The first pipe is named coalesce. What this pipe does is it allows you selecting the first non-empty field value among the enumerated fields, and if all these enumerated fields have empty values, then you can specify the default value as a fallback and assign this value to some field name. And this functionality is useful when you have logs received from different sources, and these logs have different field names which contain similar types of values. For example, in this example here on the screenshot, you can see this is a screenshot from documentation for this coalesce pipe. You can see how to select either user ID, username, or email, and store these values, so the first non-empty value into the user field, log field. And if all these field names are empty, then the default anonymous value is used as a user field value. So this pipe might be quite useful for some of our users. That's why it has been added in LogScale. And the second pipe allows joining JSON array values with a given delimiter. It is quite frequent that logs contain JSON arrays stored as strings in some log fields, and sometimes it is needed to join these values with some delimiter, for example, new line or comma. So this new pipe, JSON array concat, comes to rescue. You can do these things, join array values, JSON array values with the given delimiter. And that's all in LogScale part. There are not so many new functionality because LogScale is already too big. It contains a big number of useful functionality, useful pipes and functions. And I recommend you going to LogScale documentation public documentation and reading about all this functionality. I bet that you do not know big share of this documentation of this functionality, and you can read this documentation and start using this functionality. So what's next? VLagent gained support for advanced globe patterns in file collector. For those who do not know what is VLagent, VLagent is our agent for collecting logs and for gathering logs, collecting logs, and sending them to the configured VictoriaLogs instances or other remote storage systems which support JSON line protocol. And in the first quarter of this year, VLagent gained support for collecting these logs from specified files, and you could specify these files with command line flag file collector.glob, which accepts file globs, so-called. And now, previously, these file globs were limited. They supported only star char, which could match any number of chars and can match logs in a particular directory, for example. And now this globe functionality has been improved, and now it supports matching many arbitrary levels of directories with double zero pattern. It also supports matching alternatives values via curly braces and other great features. Here are a few examples which are taken from documentation for VLagent. You can see how you can match logs under any directories and under with any depths with double star as the second example, or you can see how to match logs access.log and error.log in some given directory in Nginx. Or the last example shows how you can match logs which contain only a single char in front of .log suffix. Also, all the VictoriaMetrics or VictoriaLogs Docker images were migrated from Alpine to Docker to distroless base image. Why it was needed? Because this reduces Docker image size for all the VictoriaLogs components. But that's not the most important thing. The most important thing is it reduces attack surface, improves security, because the distroless images do not contain any executables, contrary to Alpine image. Distroless Docker images are the minimal possible images which contain only the essential files needed for typical programs. So, as a result, security scanners now will be happy and will not trigger false positives like they were doing with Alpine-based Docker images, because Alpine Docker images frequently contain new vulnerabilities. Frequently are found in these executables which are shipped with Alpine Docker images, and security scanners usually starts alarming when they see this vulnerable base images, and you need to upgrade to the new Docker images of this Alpine base image, but this needs creating new release of VictoriaLogs components, and that's not so good experience from the security point of view. And now this experience should be much better, because security scanners cannot find any issues in the base images, the distroless images, because they do not have any executables. And as for debugging, I think that some listeners think about the debugging of such images. You cannot connect to such images via shell by default, but when you run such Docker images in Kubernetes, Kubernetes provides the ability to debug such images with kubectl debug command, and you can use it for debugging. Okay, and let's go to the web UI improvements. There are many small user experience improvements across all the web UI, and I believe that all the users will be happy with these improvements. Let's start. The first improvement is that previously timestamps in logs in web UI were displayed with millisecond precision in some parts, and in other parts they were displayed in nanosecond precision, and now they are consistently displayed with nanosecond precision, because that's the precision which is used by VictoriaLogs internally. VictoriaLogs stores all the logs with nanosecond precision, and now all these logs across all the web UI show timestamps with nanosecond precision. Why it is important? Because when previously when there were logs displayed with the same millisecond value, but which could differ with nanosecond values, it was hard to distinguish and detect which logs had bigger or smaller timestamps, because they had the same millisecond and they differ with nanoseconds. The second improvement is quick search by field. When you open a log line in the web UI, you see all the fields in this web UI for this log, and the number of fields is usually quite big in practice. When, for example, if you collect logs from typical Kubernetes clusters, the number of such log fields is usually around 20 or 30, and it might be tiresome to search for these log fields or some values in these log fields, and now it is simplified with this quick search field, search input. For example, you can type here any word. In this case, I typed Kafka, and you will see all the log fields for that particular log which contain Kafka word in them, either in log field name or log field value, like in this case. The next improvement is automatic log level detection. You can see here a column with the log level, which is automatically detected, and how it works. It looks into the most typical log fields which can be used as a log level, and if it finds such log fields, then it automatically shows the corresponding level here and highlights it with different colors. Info is green, and as I remember, error is red. So it simplifies you scanning big amounts of logs via web UI. The next improvement is related for the functionality which shows surrounding logs. There is a button when you hover any log line in the web UI. You'll see the button on the right side of this line, which is named Show Context. And if you click on it, you'll see the surrounding logs for the selected log, the logs which go before this log line, and logs which go after this log line in the given log stream. And if you didn't remember what is log stream, the log stream is a stream of logs received from a single instance of some application. So you basically see logs like in this format, which is similar to the format of logs, text format of logs, which is generated by the application, by a single instance of application. and it simplifies you investigating these logs. And previously, this functionality was, let's say, not so useful, because the sorting of the logs here were sorted in reverse order and not in natural order, like they displayed when you read them in text files. And now they are sorted in correct order, like in text files. So this simplifies investigation of these logs, and also you can scroll up and down, and logs are dynamically loaded during scrolling. So this simplifies you investigating logs on a single log stream received from a single application instance. The next feature is related to more compact and more readable per bar time range. When you hover cursor on any bar in his bar chart, it shows you time range for this bar. And previously, the time range for this bar was displayed with the full timestamp, the date and time, including nanoseconds. And the start of this previously, this time range was displayed as a full timestamp for the start and for the end of this time range. And now you see that it is more compact. In this case, it shows only a date, and after that, it shows the duration of the given bar for 5 minutes in this case. And it looks more compact, easier to read, and it's easier to read. And the next feature is related to query tips. When users first load this web UI, the most of users do not know anything about LogSQL, and they do not know how to type queries. And I believe that this new functionality will help them learning LogSQL. So whenever you put cursor in an input query string, and the input query string is empty or contains a star, then this auto-suggestion appears, and this auto-suggestion contains the most typical functionality, the most typical syntax, which can be used for filtering logs. You can select any functionality from here, any line from here, and edit it in order to quickly start exploring your logs with these filters. And you can see here that this auto suggestion pop-up also contains a history, and this history chapter contains recently executed queries. And whenever you type your query, this history tab narrows down to the queries which contain text you just typed in the query input field, and it simplifies you executing queries which were already executed before, which is quite frequent task. The next improvement is related to synchronous grouping of hits bar chart and group view. If you were using web UI before, you probably remember that this group view for logs contained logs grouped by log streams by default. And now this group view contains logs without any grouping by default, like his bar chart, because his bar chart by default also doesn't contain any grouping. It contains distribution of logs without any grouping. But whenever you select this grouping for his bar chart, it automatically synchronizes this grouping for the logs below. Like in this case, we selected grouping his bar chart by Kubernetes container name, and you see that logs also are grouped by the Kubernetes container name below. And I believe that this great usability improvement for users. The next improvement is related to human understandable intervals for bars in hit bar chart. Previously, you could select the width of hits, duration of this intervals per each bar in the hit bar chart from this menu, and these intervals previously were not aligned to human understandable durations. They were arbitrary, and this could complicate investigating logs. And now the list of these intervals is curated manually, let's say, and it contains only human understandable intervals, which is easier to interpret by humans. Like in this case, when you select quite a large time range for logs, you can see these options aligned by hours, and then by days, and then by weeks, like in this case. And this is what most human users want, instead of aligning by some arbitrary intervals. And when we zoom in, like in this case, we zoom in, the list of these intervals automatically updates to curated list, which is adjusted for the selected time range. In this case, you can see that all these intervals are also quite human understandable and not arbitrary. And you can zoom in further, and you can see that these intervals also automatically update here, and even further to milliseconds. And by the way, now WebUI for VictoriaLogs supports selecting time ranges with nanosecond precision, but because previously only millisecond precision was supported for selecting the time ranges, and now you can select time ranges with nanosecond precision. Okay, and that's all. And let's talk about upcoming features. The first feature, which is most anticipated, of course, is support for object storage. And there is a pull request. That's a good news, and I highly recommend you, if you are interested in this support for object storage, trying to build VictoriaLogs from this pull request and playing with this VictoriaLogs instance. And if you find some issues with object storage support here, then please notify us so we can fix them. And the not so good news is that this pull request is still in the review and is not merged, but it should be merged soon. There is no exact dates for the merge, but I expect that it should be merged in the coming months. The next interesting upcoming feature is so-called if pipe. What is the pipe? This pipe allows embedding other pipes, arbitrary number of pipes, which in the when you execute the query, and this arbitrary number of pipes are executed if the incoming logs match the given filters specified in for the every if branch. And this functionality is very powerful. Currently, some of log scale pipes already support this conditional filtering, but it is supported not by all pipes, and it is awkward to use. And this new if pipe will solve this problem, that it will be able to support all the pipes. You can embed any pipes, as I said, and any sequence of pipes in this if filters. So that's a very powerful feature, which will be released soon. Here is an example. We select logs for the last 5 minutes, and if these logs contain nginx value in the up field, then we just return the last 5 logs with the biggest timestamps. And otherwise, we unpack JSON from the log message and return arbitrary 3 logs. And that's just a dumb example of the power of this if pipe. And by the way, this if pipe can be embedded into another if pipe. I mean that if pipe is just a regular pipe, and since arbitrary pipes can be put inside if condition, if branch, this means that you can put embed one if pipe into another if pipe. So that's a very powerful feature, and I will be very glad when it will be released. And the next feature is related to logs transformation at VLagent. Currently, VLagent doesn't support logs transformation yet, but we are working hard and on designing a great transformation language, which will allow you performing arbitrary transformations for the input logs before saving them to the configured remote storages. And this logs transformation language is based on LogSQL. This means that you don't need to learn some new syntax or YAML configuration. If you know LogSQL, then you'll be familiar with how to write this logs transformation configuration configs. As I said, it always builds in arbitrary complex transformations. And what is important is that the resulting syntax is easy to read and understand, even if you do not know LogSQL and do not know this transformation language. Let's look at the basic example. Here is how the basic functionality of this logs transformation language. It supports if conditions. Inside if, you can specify arbitrary LogSQL filters. And if incoming logs match these filters, then the block for this if condition is executed, and every such block can contain arbitrary number of transformation pipes, log transformation pipes. That's regular LogSQL pipes which can transform logs. And every such block also can contain embedded if conditions and so on. And also there is a special keyword such as send. If you put a send keyword somewhere, like in this case, then all the logs which went to this line are sent to the remote storage in VLagent. And these logs never pass to the following transformations. And another keyword is drop. If logs match hit this keyword, then these logs are dropped, like in this case below. Also, the logs transformation language will support blocks for logs transformations, like that's similar to functions, but for logs transformation, you specify the block, give it a name, like in this case, and the block can contain arbitrary transformations with arbitrary conditions, if conditions, and they also can contain additional special keyword return. If logs hit this keyword, then return from this block is executed. I mean that transformations inside this block are stopped, and all the transformations which go after this block are executed. And then you can call these blocks at any place. Like in this place, you can transform some logs and enrich these logs with some additional fields with this by calling this block, and after that you can continue processing your logs. So I believe that this logs transformation language will be a great addition, and which will improve functionality of VLagent significantly and will make it very powerful. And this logs transformation functionality is already in the review. There is a pull request, and it should be reviewed soon and merged. So I recommend trying VictoriaLogs in production. And by the way, that's it. I already finished my talk.
Yeah, thank you, Alex. I mean, we have some comments about this update in the YouTube. So I'll just read them out. Will there be... sorry. Right, so there are any docs for configuring object storage for logs? Because...
there are no any docs, but that pull request should contain some docs. So I recommend you go into the VictoriaLogs repository to the pull request tab and finding this object storage support pull request and investigating this pull request. I believe that it contains some docs how to configure this object storage.
Sure, thank you. So I think the another comment was about the transformation part for VLagent, and it says, okay, it's interesting as an alternative to log/stash processing pipelines. That's a that's a comment. And yeah, the next one will be, but no answer is needed. Have you considered things like log enrichment, ASN, GeoIP lookup, high availability?
Yes. Yes, we considered this, and this will be the next step. This logs enrichment will be included in this logs transformation language and in the next iterations.
Excellent. Right, and I think that's it from our side. So I mean, that's it from the YouTube part. And thank you so much, Alex, for your patience. We will promise we'll shuffle the order the next time. So we'll have VictoriaLogs right after the community updates. So yeah.
I'm okay with my late presentation. I'm just closing this virtual meetup. I'm okay with this.
Okay, awesome. Right, so I will add people back to the stage. Let me just quickly invite everyone and to have the last goodbyes, sort of. I'm not sure if the other people are around. Yeah. And I'm not sure, probably Fred is a bit busy, but...
I'm here.
Or is here. Okay, awesome. I didn't want to grab you from some meetings. Yeah, thank you so much for lasting this long and for your patience. I mean, everything was really interesting. And if you have any comments for the end or anything, motivating to say.
Distryless images broke my health checks. But I think there's a feature request to get that fixed in the future.
Yeah. My avocado also is kind of dry, so yeah.
They rot so fast.
Yeah. We all need some refreshments.
Yeah, 2.5 hours of talk is quite exhausting.
Yeah, but I think our users needed that. So yeah, we are busy bees, and we are very happy to have all these updates at every quarter, and all these improvements are really, really important. But like I said, we will revert with the presentations, and you will be able to watch. You'll have like every product, every video for each product, so you can fully dive into this. And anyway, we are available for any questions, either via GitHub, via our community channels, or Slack channel. Yeah, and I think that we could call it a wrap for this evening, or for this morning if you are watching us from the United States.
Exactly. That was great. Thank you all.
Thank you all, and we are waiting for you on the next quarter meetup.
Yeah.
If you want.
See you on the next meetup.
And thank
See you
you,
soon, guys.
Kirill, for
Have a
joining
great
us
time.
as a guest. Thank you so much again.
Thank
Bye-bye,
you.
everyone. Take care. Thank you.
See ya.